everyone. I thought what I would do is a quick studio blog to just highlight some of the other things that I actually do in my studio. This is a new setup and I didn't know if it would really work because I normally use my camera coming down from the studio ceiling, and I've seen other YouTube artists setting up their tripods to show their easels, and I thought it would be quite nice just to show you some of the other kind of work that I do for real life and not YouTube land. Oh, and it's a lot quieter now because I'm not in the small animal room, and the plumbers have just left. They fitted me a new loo, so yeah, dead excited about that. Looks really weird up there, but hey. Anyway, so getting back to this blog, this is a piece of work that I'm creating. It's an exhibition called The Infrequent Path, and I kind of rattled my brains over, you know, it in its purest sense rather than in the abstract sense, although I am doing an abstract piece of work. And one of the things that I'm really fascinated with are mountains, which is really weird because I am really scared of heights. But I absolutely love mountains. I love the surface quality of them, the texture, and I love the pure whiteness of the snow against that rugged texture. So this is called the north face of the Eiger, and I'm quite pleased with the way it's turned out, which I will show you in a little while, the finished piece. But at the moment I am just doing all of the different colours and creating the different textures that are in the canvas. And believe it or not, stonework, if you get it wet, is really colourful. If ever you were buying stones for the garden, you know, wet them first before you choose, because when they are wet, they are one of the most beautiful elements of earth ever. And I think that mountains, for a predominant amount of time, would give us those beautiful shades, because the snow obviously at some point will melt, or if there's a rock slide, new rock underneath will be discovered. Apparently I only live a few miles away from Stonehenge. I'm very lucky where I live in Wiltshire. I'm 12 miles away from Avebury and only 30 miles away from Stonehenge, so I can see them both on a regular basis. But apparently Stonehenge was made of this amazing blue crystally type of stone, and when you see it in Wales in the flesh, it is quite an amazing piece of rock. When you uncover it, it glistens and it's really beautiful. So now that Stonehenge is like a zillion years old and it is weathered, it's lost a lot of that luster. But according to archaeologists, and I use that in brackets, bits of Stonehenge when it was built was taken for souvenirs and healing talisman because of this glittery effect. And in Wiltshire, whereabouts where I live, it was underwater for a long time, and we were talking before dinosaurs obviously, and we had this amazing bedrock. Some of it is like a coral, but some of it isn't. And I don't know what part of the Earth's creation this was. We have this rock, and if you chip it away into half, like bang it into half, and it breaks open, there's these amazing crystals formed inside. It is wonderful to see, even when it's the most smallest pieces of crystal. You can see it glisten. It's so beautiful when it's fresh. So you can imagine what Stonehenge and Avebury must have looked like when those stones were first quarried and put in place and the sun hit them. They must have been absolutely devastatingly beautiful. But going back to my painting, I'm more interested in the surface texture, the colours, the snow, and I am going to create a texture over the paint that when I gloss it, it will show, for me, layers of ice. Well, that's what's in the artist's mind's eye. Whether I pull it off or not, I'll let you see further in the video. Because like most artists, we have this vision in our head of what we want, and it's up to our inner critic whether we actually succeed in this or not. And I get quite excited with the process and experimental. So in a way, I am what I would say is quite lucky, because when I come and do this kind of work, because it's exploratory, investigative work, the inner critic is quite excited. So my little monkey brain is quite excited about the process, rather than when I'm doing something like an illustration where I could see that it could be out a little bit, and that niggles me. Although I let it go, I'm getting good at letting it go like everybody else. So, but with these, my monkey brain gets quite excited about the process, about looking into the picture. So I am let off quite luckily with this. And I tell you what, it was lovely. My studio is really big, and I have tables and chairs in there, obviously, because I do lessons. But it was the first time I'd actually dismantled some of the tables to actually do this artwork. And I was surprised how much room I had to actually move about in. So the studio is getting used in more ways than, you know, I ever dreamt of. And this is River. He sits in my chair while I'm painting. He's the oldest of our two dogs, and he always finds his way in there. And this is the painting finished now. You can see the white lines that represent the snow going down into the crevices, and that is the texture. I hope you can see it well enough. This is a texture that I wanted to create with different depths of ice against the surface. And I'm quite pleased with it, to be honest. It turned out far better than I actually anticipated. So, and again, I've turned my camera onto autofocus because I had a bit of trouble when it was on manual. But that's the finished piece anyway, and it's called The North Face of the Eiger, and it's going into exhibition next month. So it is for sale. No plug there. And this is my studio. It was a gorgeous day yesterday when I was filming, as you can see outside. The light just floods into the studio. And this is a piece that is being delivered on Saturday for another exhibition. Really, really lovely. And I just thought I would show you these. These are bits of wire that I manipulated, and they are part of another body of work that I'm creating. And this is an investigation into line, and that body of work will be over several months while I do that investigation. And this is my little workspace. This is where I do all my YouTube in. And woo, Eddie got me some flowers for the studio, which is really lovely. And I'm just going to show you now a piece that I'm doing for my art lessons, which I will be putting up on YouTube. And I'm quite excited to do that too, although that'll be quite quick. And as it was such a lovely day, I thought I'd give you a little walk into our woodland path just to see how it's progressing. And I just absolutely love the textures and the stones, and particularly that's the Sky Studio over there. It's a space that we use that looks up into the sky, and I love the textures, and I love the way that after winter, after the devastation of the winter, you know, losing bits of wood and leaves and branches, how the light changes on the surface of the ground. Now, I did shut the dogs out into the other part of the garden. Oh look, and these are my unicorn slippers. I suddenly realised as I was walking along, I had my unicorn slippers. Hello! Because it's quite dry where we are at the moment, and I love being able to just nip to the studio in my slippers, work, and come back. And a little secret, shh, I know I'm telling the world, but sometimes I nip in there in my onesie, my rabbit onesie, because it is so comfortable to work in. So this is in the morning. This is about 11 o'clock in the morning. And oh, and these are some feathers that Eddie, my husband, collects as he goes for walks with the dogs. And he puts them in different branches, different things that he finds. Animal skulls. Sounds a bit like the Witch Bear Project, doesn't it? But and other sticks and twigs and things that he finds. And now I'm just going to walk back and look, there she is, Anouk. She's managed to open the gate and come and find me, and I'm telling her to go back. We're not going for a walk. She doesn't seem too disappointed at the fact that we're not going for a walk. And I thought it would be interesting this time just to show you what the sky looks like from this little wooded area. Never done it before, so I'm quite excited to see this at the same time. You know, it's really, the sky is so blue, you'd think it was June and not March. We've had some terrible storms last week, which did cause an awful lot of havoc, and apparently a foot or 30 centimetres of rain in one day, and our pond is quite full up with water. So yes, it has been. We've had Storm Gareth and Storm God knows what over the last weeks coming over from different places, and the ground's quite bare at the moment. There's no ground coverage, so it's quite spacious. And I'm not actually going to show you the compost heap, although you will see the compost heap. Hello, compost heap. That's not what I meant to be showing you. I'm meant to be showing you that these are the other mushrooms that we have, and we can't always get to them because of the undergrowth. But I thought I would just show you that's the other part of our garden, and there's half my studio, and there's the mushrooms again. The mushrooms must be about 2 years old now. And this is a side window of my studio, just looking out what you can see. And here is River. He's actually got off the chair just to investigate what we're doing. He's noticed that Anouk is missing, and Anouk is actually sat next to me now. And she's going to show you what Eddie's doing in her own leisurely place, because she never rushes anywhere, to be fair. So Eddie is actually in the process of carving a mushroom for one of my other artist friends, and he's carving it, we think, is beechwood. And I'm just talking to him there because he's a bit worried that the mic might be on, but I told him I would do a voiceover, so he's carried on. And the mushroom has turned out quite well. It's quite hard work because beechwood is really solid. It's beautiful for carving, but really, really dense. There's not that much grain to it. So he's just explaining to me the different ways that he's going to carve it and what he expects to get out of the wood. And these are the well, no, that's Eddie again. These are the other mushrooms that we have in our garden, and now I'm letting you experience what it's like to be a fairy under the mushrooms. Some of them are over 12 foot high. It's really lovely. But anyway, from me, the animals, and Eddie, have a lovely rest of the week, and see you soon.